Hello geeks and geekettes once more, and we're now going to do a bit of a comparison between the Ultrasabers Consular and of course the Electrum Sabers Remnant. Now, before we start, quick disclaimer, both blades in the video might appear a little bit different, but trust me, they're both mid-grade Ultrasabers blades. Their thickness might be a little bit different, but they're exactly the same in every other respect. This is basically a brightness test. We're going to put the Consular, which is running a Consular Green color, against the green color that I set with the Electrum Sabers. Now, one thing that's important to mention is that normally RGBW LEDs are usually a little bit dimmer than one LED only sabers. So you might encounter that in person. You might see a little bit of a different result than we see here, and in the video you might see something different than I see here. But for the purpose of this video, just remember that this one has the Obsidian Light sound, which is the entry-level soundboard that you can get. And this saber costs about $200 or so, but I'll put it in the video description and you can see for yourself, if you set up this saber for yourself, how much it's going to cost you. And this saber, you already know the price. You can check the Electrum Sabers site for that. But all that aside, by the way, another thing that's important, this lightsaber will most definitely be louder than the Electrum. And why? Well, because I set this one to be a little bit in the lower volume. We don't want lightsabers to be shouting out in the middle of a small apartment. So let's fire this one up, and let's fire the Electrum Sabers up. Now, as you can see, both sabers are, well, at least to my eye, here they seem to be equally bright, which is curious. Let me check on the camera. Yeah, the camera seems to agree with me as well. They're both equally bright. But yes, while we have them here, let me just compare one other thing, which is this. The sabers, let me try to put them together as much as I can. Now, as you can see, the Ultrasabers is a little bit smaller, but then again, the blade gap is not as big. The blade on this one goes all the way down up until here, and the blade of this one goes about here, so it doesn't go as deep. Another thing that you might notice is the profile. This one has this grenade grip, and it's very, very small. If I grip my hand around it, you can see that my hand almost touches on the grip of the rest of the palm. Whereas this saber, if I grip it on its thinner area, as you can see, it's not exactly the same. Even if I grip it down here, I'll never get to this point because this saber is, quite honestly, quite thicker. In terms of weight, it's impressive to say that Electrum Sabers has done an amazing job with this saber, because with two similar blades, this saber can actually be lighter than this one. And it's a feat because this one does not have a chassis. You just have the batteries floating around, and this one you actually have a physical chassis, and nothing wiggles around. So it's a testament of what chassis can do for a lightsaber. And yeah, that's the end of this particular comparison. Any doubts or any questions that you want to do, or any comments that you might have on the sabers, or suggestions that you might have for comparisons, leave them in the comments, and we'll address them.